doc.org. On the dock every Tuesday and Thursday, we're dropping out new podcasts, and we've got a great one for you today. You are going to love this. You probably have to pull over and get a Coke or a coffee so you can sit and enjoy this. Or if you're driving, just don't get too enamored and drive off the road today. But on the doc.org, every Tuesday and Thursday, we drop out podcasts, and we are all about conversations to propel your faith out of the shallows and into the deep. And we're found on 3 different major platforms: YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. Those are our big platforms. Check those out. But also, you can find us at Google Play, Facebook, Roku, Rumble, and SermonNet. And we'd love to hear from you on our 5 social media partners: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. Go get it on Getter. And we're doing well there. Hey, by the way, Beth, I am the 178th Heartthrob, #1 Christian viewed podcast. I'm the David Hasselhoff of Thailand. I can't hear you. Got to turn on my.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, I got a record from. This is from Apple.
Amazing.
Apple says I'm the David Hasselhoff, and I'm 179th in Thailand. We have a huge.
They didn't call you that.
I know you did, but we have a huge following in Thailand because of our churches there, and so they have really got us in the Christian community. Daniel and all them. So thank you guys. Yeah, Thailand, we want to hear from you. Go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram. Tell us you're there. Please hit subscribe, like, notify, and we would like to be 179th in the United States. So pass it around, get it around. We'd like to even be on the board, and I could be David Hasselhoff here. David Hasselhoff wouldn't be possible here, so I'll have to be somebody else.
That's
here.
okay. So you can be Troy.
I could be Brad Pitt for you. Yeah.
Nah, Troy's fine.
Troy's fine. Okay. Yeah. Patreon. Go to Patreon, my Patreon site. Become on the dock partner. Be a Patreon partner or sponsor. We have 2 tiers: our 2 program sponsorship and partnership, and 3 tiers in each of those programs. If you want to sponsor our show or be a partner in it, and we'd love to tell you how, go there and find out at Patreon website. And you can also go to onthedoc.org and link over. Onthedoc.org, there we are. You can find all our platforms that way. info@onthedoc.org is our email. We'd love to hear from you. Donna, our executive producer, would love to talk to you. We'll answer your questions, help you out with anything. I have on the set with me my lovely co-host today, Mother Beth Benetone. How you doing, Mother Beth?
I'm doing good. How are you? Mother
of many, including our 4 kids. Now we got a couple grandkids.
Yeah.
We've got multiple animals, lots of animals. We have raccoons. We have possums,
dogs, possums,
birds. She's that, and lots of people in Africa and all that. We have Lucas here today, our executive director, Techno Wizard. Lucas, thank you for being in the studio. He put the studio back together. We did a remote. Hey, Lucas can't. You don't have a microphone today? No, Lucas can. Lucas, we did a remote for one of our season 2 shows, and we stripped the whole studio down. Did a remote with Fred Bishop, so it's going to be great. That's part of season 2. Go find that one. And we have got an incredible show for you today. I'm looking for a slide that didn't pop up. There it is, right there. We have in studio Sandra Colombo. Sandra, welcome to On the Dock.
Thank you.
You're already a professional. You got it down. You hit your cue right on the mark. She says she's never done anything like this. This woman is 95 years old as of June, and we're her first podcast.
I'm excited too. It's going to be really good.
This is going to be so good. Sandra hails to us from here in Illinois, but we're going to tell you all about her. She's got a great history. We're going to tell you all about her, and she is part of a series we are doing that is the last of this series, and this series is called Well Done, Lives Lived Well. So well done, it comes from, Sandra, in the Bible. I'll give you the background of what the Lord put on my heart about this. In the Bible, there's a thing called on the screen here, a thing called the parable of the talents. You know the story in the Bible where the Lord gave 1 5 and 1 3 and 1 1, and then said go do something. The owner said go do something with them, and then the servant, the master came back and said, well, give me your report. And the 5 said, here I got 5 more. Here's 10. 3 said I got 6. Here's 6. And the one guy said, hey, I knew you were shrewd and tough and mean, so I dug a hole and put your dollar in it. Here's your dollar back. And we know that the Lord wasn't happy with that. He said, you could have at least gone to the bank and got me a little interest. But because you took what I gave you and you hid it, I'm going to put you out and take what you have and give it to the guys that did better. And there's a scripture in that says, Matthew 25, verse 21 and 23, the Lord said, well done, good and faithful servant. You are faithful over a few things, and I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord. It's God saying that when we take our lives and what he's given us and we do our best that we can with them, he will honor that and he'll bless us. And what he doesn't want us to do is take what we have and hide it and not give him the glory for it. And so I was I was inspired by that scripture and thinking, who are people that I know that have lived lives with well done? And I thought, I want to get some of these people on tape and let them tell their stories, because I think this generation right now, we look to like TV and movies for heroes like Superman and Batman and Robin. But honestly, Superman, Batman, and Robin and Iron Man and all these, you just name the Hulk. Okay, this is going to be harmful. They're not real. They're fun. Exactly. I love the TV I love the movies, but people, they're not real. But we have, Jesus is real. The heroes of the Bible are real. And the people we've been interviewing in this series, like my grandpa Don, like Myron, like Jerry and Evelyn and Fred, and now today Sandra, as we wrap up this series, the people we've been, these are real people. They have lived, 70, 80, 90, 100 years to be of age. They've lived through, all of us think we're going through everything bad now. Dude, these people have lived through the Great Depression. They lived through wars, not just one war, two, Korea, Vietnam, right. Gulf War. So they've lived through having no computers, having some computers, having all computers, having some of them before cars were popular. Now cars are popular, and now they want to give them up and go to electric. They have seen us on this planet, now on the moon, and now thinking about going to Mars. This generation has lived through a lot of change. Yeah. And somehow or another, they have kept, I haven't found many people like Sandra, meeting her a couple times down, and Grandpa and these older folks have maintained such dignity and composure. Mm-hmm. I think our people have a lot to learn about how they went through these changes. So hopefully as you hear Sandra's story, you're going to hear that. But what inspired me, and now Sandra, I don't know if you watch any TV or not. Do you ever watch TV?
Not much.
I was afraid of that.
Not at all.
What inspired me was this man. You're not going to know. Do you know who this man is? This is a TV personality. Now, when I tell you who he is, you're going to be like, oh, no. This man, I don't think he has a name. Oh, okay. But when they run the commercials, he has a name, but he's the man. This is going to be terrible. You're going to think, what kind of pastor would use this as an example? Yeah. This is the man that speaks on the commercial for Dos Equis beer. For the beer commercial, Dos Equis. And they always have him on the commercials. He's selling the beer. He's a Spanish man. He's very suave and debonair. Mm-hmm. And he says, well, I drink beer only occasionally, but when I drink beer, I drink Dos Equis. Oh. And they introduce him and they go, this man is the most interesting man in the world. We don't know who he is, what his name is, but the commercial says the most interesting man in the world drinks Dos Equis beer. And I always thought that was kind of cool because he's very interesting. Now, I don't think he's more interesting, though, than the great heroes of the Bible. I don't think he's more interesting than you, Sandra, or a lot of these great people we've got a chance to interview. So I got thinking, I would really, instead of interviewing a beer salesman or talking about fake heroes, I want to talk about real heroes, real most interesting people in the world. So for you today, you are the most interesting woman in the world to me. And I heard about you, Sandra. You came to Women of Faith. Beth was hosting our first Women of Faith, and you came. And I know you're in Alexis Long's refit. You go to refit. Yes. And Alexis Long is just a part of our team and staff. And she says you're like one of her best refit people. And you even went through a broke hip, and you've kind of rehabbed yourself through and all that. And but we know you came, and the women were so inspired by your life and your story. Beth and I got talking, and we had planned to end this series with Fred. So we said, we've got to extend Well Done for 2 more, and we're going to have you for a part 1 and part 2 right now. So we're going to get going. Sandra, tell us, you're 95 in June. You're getting around great. And where are you from? Where were you born?
I was born in Milano, Italy.
Milano, Italy. So that's in the hill, that's in the mountains, on the edge.
It's on the edge. It's not really. It's close to the Switzerland border.
Right. So
but it's a city. It's the second largest city.
You're not quite in Torino or up in the Alps, but you're at the foot.
Torino is the next state. We're divided by states, like we have here in the United States. So Milano is part of the Lombardia.
So are you a famous runway model for?
No.
I just wanted
the fashion capital of Italy.
It's the fashion capital of the world.
It is, but not during the war. That's when I was in Italy during the war.
Okay, So Milano was before New York, the fashion place, right? So it kind of preceded that.
Well, it was at first it was Paris. Then
it was Paris, then Milano, and then New York, kind of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was Milano famous? It wasn't famous for that in the wartime.
Not
so that
then.
came later.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you end up were you born in Milano? Your family from Milano?
I was born in Milano, and I lived there until I left when I was 19.
Okay.
When I got married.
What kind of work did your family do in Milano?
My dad was a car dealer. He had his own, dealership.
That's very early in the car world, though.
Yeah,
So we're talking about Italian cars.
Yeah, sure.
All Italian cars.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Very good. So your dad was a car dealer. Wow.
Well,
okay.
and he died very young, so he really didn't get to. He was only 37 or so when
Did he die of natural causes in the war?
He did no. He was in the military, but he contracted this infection behind the ear.
Really?
I don't know what you call it in English.
And passed away.
Yeah.
How about your mom?
She was 33 when he died.
Oh my!
And she was just a homemaker.
Just a homemaker.
Yeah, but before she got married, she had her own dry cleaning shop.
Dry cleaning shop. Are you an only daughter? Are there other siblings?
No, there was another sister and one son that I never met because he died when he was a year and a half. So I really never met him.
So you immigrated out at 19, but before, so 19 would have put you at about 1945, correct?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that time.
1946. I think.
So that's the end of the war.
That's the end
So
of the
you
war.
lived in Italy through the war.
I was there all through the war.
Give us a feeling for. I mean, the Allies, the Americans didn't come into Italy till much later, correct?
Right.
So, because my grandfather was in part of the groups that came in with, I guess, Patton's Brigade and the tanks and all that stuff. They came in, went through Italy, and my grandfather, who is older than her, and she knows my grandparents. My grandmother's passed now, but they're all from here, and there were a lot of Heron military was in Italy at that time, correct? Right. A lot of the boys from Heron were in the groups that were in Italy.
But the fighting in Italy came from the south. It started on south. Up north, where we live, we were invaded with the Germans.
So define south, like from the end?
Rome on down.
From Rome on down?
Sicily and all, and that's where the American troop,
My grandfather acted like when he got up in the mountains, it was more relaxing and it was more taking it easy, and the war was pretty much over by the time they got up there. Is that?
Well, by the time they got to Bologna,
Bologna,
which is between Rome and Milano, that was Bologna. That's where the war ended.
Thank God.
Yeah,
We've been to Bologna. We spent about a week in Bologna doing cooking lessons. I spent a week in Tuscany. I spent a week in up in the Torino area and up in the north, Piedmont as well, and a week in Rome. We spent like 35 days there on a cooking tour.
I told her we changed trains in Milan.
That's where we changed trains.
She said everybody does.
Everybody changes train or catches the plane from Milano, but they don't stay
We
there.
didn't get to stay in Milan at all, did we? Did we change the train? We wish we had of. I think that's where we got the super fast train out of Florence to go to
Paris.
And we went over to. We stayed in Lucerne.
They call it La Freccia. That's the new, real fast.
It was fast. It was so fast.
Yeah,
well, going over the Swiss Alps, and that was beautiful. Little old churches nestled in there.
They call it La Freccia, which means the arrow.
The arrow, it's very fast.
Yeah.
We were going like over 130, 140 miles an hour. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You didn't really feel it on there. It was really nice. We went through to Lucerne and spent a night, and Lucerne was so expensive. We about starved to death. It was like $20 for a hot dog. Lucerne's very expensive.
Yeah, it is.
And then we got to Paris, and we enjoyed Paris a lot.
I went to Venice.
We love Venice. Florence. Rome.
Venice is very unique,
Yeah, we love Venice.
There's no other
we liked Rome the least. We enjoyed seeing the holy sites.
No, we did not like Rome.
No, we like Naples was the worst. Naples had the Vesuvius and all the view on the coast, beautiful. But Naples there were so many thieves and pickpockets, and even the taxi cab drivers were hustling you. Naples was very it was like going to New York or Chicago.
Well, when you get to their Calabrians in Sicily, there's a lot of mafia.
Mafia as well.
That the controls, all these street people and
so
all
it's
of that
better.
Is
it better under the mafia where the mafia is strong, or is it worse?
I don't know, because up north we didn't have.
You didn't have none of that.
But we knew, you heard about it. The mafia down south, and as a matter of fact, that's the reason why I think we don't have all the factory and everything. We don't have anything down south because the mafia want always a share of it. And these people just I had a friend, they wanted to open a restaurant, but he didn't want to get his share to the mafia.
So he had to do it. So all the manufacturing's in the north?
Yes.
And then, now you said Bologna. Where is Milan in the relationship to Bologna? Bologna's to the right. more toward the Mediterranean? No.
Yeah, it all depends if you're going from the bottom.
Bottom up. Yeah, going from the boot up.
But you have the ocean on both sides.
Yeah. How far were you? How far were you
from?
from Bologna? You were about
Maybe 3 hours.
3 hours, and then from the water, you could be at the ocean. How quick?
Oh yeah, I could go from Milano to Venice and back the same day.
Same day. What's cool? We were talking about for the show is you can be up skiing and you could be on the beach in the same day.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, very much. And
well, because Italy is very small.
Yeah, I was telling her our family's from Valparaiso. We have some family from Portofino, and Valparaiso's up a little more in Torino in the hills above you. But you could be up there skiing and come back down and be in Portofino, someplace like that, in the French Riviera, in the Italian Riviera, and enjoy it immensely.
Portofino is beautiful because it's close to the French Riviera.
Okay,
so from there you go to the French Riviera.
My grandpa Charlie said Portofino was a dive in his day. When he was a little boy, it was a fishing village. It was just a poor man's fishing village, and now it's one of the most expensive places in the Italian Riviera.
Well, because we have a lot of German people, they come in the summer, they invade Italy because they don't have a lot of ocean around.
Yeah,
right.
So and they're so close, you know. So,
but it was very poor. Portofino was very poor wartime. Fishing village, poor, and it became very nice.
Well, everything was poor in wartime because everything came to a standstill.
Oh, and it really took it.
So it was just not too much action.
What did you see happen during the war? Give us a little bit of feeling of a
yeah.
19-year-old girl during war.
Well, what I experienced because I was 14 when the war started.
So were you in high school, junior high at the time, or?
Yes, and then I had a part-time job, you know, after school. But what we experienced the most was the bombing. We were bombed day and night.
Day and night.
Day and night. So they would have the alarms. Did
you still go to school and did you still go to work?
Yeah.
And you just don't know when a bomb's going to come down?
We didn't know where the bomb is going to. And it sounds just like in a movie when they whistle and boom.
Just like
it.
And
And
so
when
you're a 14-year-old girl, you're going to school and you're having to go work in the afternoon? You work after school?
No, I didn't go to work till later, till 16.
Till 16. What kind of work did you do as a
I was in the office, just a part-time.
So you had to carry a part-time job, you're going to school, and at any time bombs could be dropping on your head.
Yeah, and the one that it was really very, very dramatic was that you kind of become complacent when the whistle blow because they were not always attacked. You know, we didn't always have the attack. Right. They just warn you that the planes were getting closer. Sometimes they went over, they didn't drop bomb or anything. So people became kind of complacent. They were walking around even during the warning period. But this time we were really bombed big time, and so they killed people on the street. I had to walk all the electricity was off all over the city, and no transportation, no communication because all the wire went down. I had to walk home, which I had to walk through the zoo. It was all on fire, and so from then on, then people.
How many years did you have this? You bomb 4 years of this?
4 years.
And you just I guess it'd be harder at sometimes, less at sometimes.
Well, I mean, you do what you have to.
And you just kept on going to school. You went on to work.
You do what you
picked up the
We have the curfew, 9 o'clock, everything, everything was dark. Like if we had party amongst us girls, in the neighborhood, and then the food was rationed. So you had the butter, the oil, and all that was rationed.
Limited food supplies.
Exactly.
And stuff.
So when we got together, the big cookie, one will bring the oil, one will bring the butter, the other bring the flour.
Were a lot of the men conscripted off to war, so they were gone?
The men, they defaulted because they didn't want to join the Mussolini army. So they were underground for the Americans.
Okay, I need you to explain this for people because people have got bad history. Okay, Mussolini was kind of the Italian dictator for a period. Okay,
exactly.
But he was a German sympathizer for sure, at minimum.
Well, he allied with Germany.
He allied. Kind of against the Italian people weren't supportive of it necessarily. The people. No. So Mussolini really almost invited the Germans in to destroy his own country, basically.
Well, he didn't invite them, and they were allied. So you know what I'm saying? But they kind of kept each other at bay. You know what I'm saying?
So how did we finally get rid of Mussolini and become ready to invite the Americans in and
What
get
happened?
liberated.
Well, because the American fought from Sicily, fought all the way up,
All the way up
all
from
the way
from
up.
the ocean.
Exactly,
All the
yeah.
way in.
All the way up, and
They had to push the
then at the
Germans
s-
back.
in the meantime, the Germans were getting very weak after the American got into the war, because we didn't get in right away. But when America went into the war, they were so overpowered because American had supplies and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the German were running out of that.
But
Right.
but my grandpa told me that along the way, Italian men were picking up rifles and fighting with them.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
probably did.
She
I mean,
said they were working underground with the
they
Americans.
were exactly.
And so,
Bad.
but the government was kind of supportive of Germany, but the men on the ground were fighting against their own.
Right,
Yeah.
right. The underground.
Underground.
They were going. I know that I had friends that were our age, but they went underground. I never saw them again.
So the men basically disappeared to go fight underground.
Yeah.
Because I guess if not, Mussolini would have conscripted them into his.
Well, yeah. Otherwise, you either have to join or not. So if you join,
So so many of the men of fighting age were gone or are just out of your village at the time. So when you're having a bomb attack and things are needing to be rebuilt, so is basically older men, young kids, and women doing all the work?
there's nothing like that during the war. What it keeps happening. That happened after the war, the reconstruction.
No, I'm
while
talking
you're
about while it's being blown up. Are you having to go put things back together? And
Well, yeah, you have to be. I mean, there are people, they have those kind of jobs. I mean, I was young, so I was trying to get through my life. It was only me and my sister.
here's a
and my
question:
mother.
while the
But
war's
here's-
going on, were you able to go to church? Because I know you're Roman Catholic. You go
Yes.
to Our Lady of Mount Carmel here in Heron, which is a phenomenal Catholic community.
Yeah.
So were you able to maintain your faith through all
Well,
this?
sure, the church was always open.
Didn't shut down, bombs coming down.
Well, unless they were damaged. If the thing was damaged, but other than that,
But then
they
I guess
were open.
as soon as they could, the priests would do mass again.
But one example about the underground boys that they did, what they did, the sabotage, like German, this one time that happened that I saw it, they sabotaged this German truck and killed 15 or 13, I forgot, a German soldier. So to retaliate, the German pulled 13 or 15 people from the prison that had nothing to do with bombing, killed them, and put it and laid them for 3 days for people to see as an example, dead in this filling station, which ultimately they hung Mussolini upside down when they caught him.
Now explain that. Now Mussolini died in your region, so
Yeah.
the people
Well,
turned on him.
He was running away to Switzerland when they caught him. The underground caught him.
Good.
These people underground caught him, and they killed him and his girlfriend, and they brought him back to the filling station
And put him up there.
in memory of those 15. They were actually, they still have a monument that it says the monument of the 15 martyrs. 14 or 15 or 13, I forgot.
Unbelievable.
But they left him there for 3 days, so the people would not do that again.
Right.
Because the underground. And since I didn't have any men involved, because my dad was not there by that time, I didn't really keep, didn't know a lot what was going on about the underground and all of that.
Yeah, you told us your dad had been a car salesman in her early days, passed away when he was about 33. So your mom became.
No, she was 37.
She was
37, I forgot.
He was 37.
But my mom was 33.
33. And so he passed away. So he passed away before the war?
No, he was passed away during the war.
During the war.
Yeah,
So your mom was kind of with you during the war? Yeah.
But it's what he died of was not related
to the war
military.
at all. Did you have other extended family living there, or was your family
I had
from
my
somewhere else?
grandmother, and I had 2 or 3 aunts because my grandmother has 7 or 8 children. Wow. And so, she lost some of them. And they were all there during the war.
Yeah. You were telling me beforehand that your next door neighbors, you had Jewish neighbors. You were telling me about having them next to you and what happened with them.
We didn't get to meet him and know him very well because all of a sudden we had this mom and son, living next door. And by the time we got to know him, they disappeared. We just couldn't find him anymore. But at that time, I didn't realize what the Germans were doing. I mean, we just didn't know.
Did people not know what? It wasn't generally known what they were doing when they took the Jews.
No.
So it didn't come
at
out
least I didn't, because like I say, we didn't keep up politically. Because I was 14. My sister was 12. So we just we didn't realize what was going on with the Jewish people.
Where's your Where's your sister today? Is she live?
She came later on. She came here. She became a teacher. She went to SIU actually.
Wow.
And she was the first one to initiate at the Our Lady of Mount Carmel. She was teaching Spanish, which they're still doing it.
What's your sister's name?
Rena.
Rena.
And
she's young. She's 2 years younger than you.
Well, she died three or 4 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago. Wow.
Yeah. But she lived in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Did she have a nice family?
Yeah, she has 2 daughters.
2 daughters.
Which I stay in touch with them all the time. They live, one lives in Knoxville.
Now, I met your son when you came in today. Nice looking young man.
Right.
Yeah. You've got how many children yourself?
I have 3, 2 boys and a girl.
2 boys.
Yeah.
Do they live in this region or all of
Yeah,
them?
they all live here. Actually, my son lives in Florida, but he just moved here. They're going to spend several months here and several months there because they have a lot of grandchildren here, and they don't have. So I'm fortunate, very blessed to have, to be around family.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, what I want to do is I want to get one more piece of this in before we get into part 2, but because I'm watching the clock, that's on the countdown. So you told me that what's interesting, what I got out of Beth from the women's group is you're in a unique category. You came here in 1945, you said?
46.
46. 45,
That's
46.
okay.
That's like a Stapleton song. Was it 22 or 20,
Yeah.
or 25 or 26? 46. And you were 19,
Right.
roughly. And you're what we call a war bride.
Right.
And there were a lot of Italian men, soldiers from this region that brought back war brides. So tell us what is a war bride? If you're out there and you're a young lady out there, you're a young man, and you think you're traumatized by living today, I want to get on this. I want to get on my bandwagon for a minute. You're out here going, boy, it's so stressful being me today. It's so hard to be me, and I'm having headaches, and I need to see a psychiatrist, and I need to be on lots of medication because you're just so stressed for what it's like to live today. Are you understanding that this young lady here, Sandra, she was 14 to 19. She went to school, she worked a job, and the whole time, anytime a bomb could drop on her head, she watched her village be blown up. She watched people be assassinated. She watched people be horribly assassinated back. People that she knew disappeared. Fighting age men disappeared. You seem like you have your stuff together,
I mean, I didn't know what else to do. I mean,
Well,
I
you have
to live through it.
You have all your hair. You have not pulled your hair out.
No,
You
I have a lot of thick hair.
you have a lot of thick hair.
My beautician said my hair is very thick. So.
But I mean, a lot of people today talk about how tough it is to live today and all the trauma today.
No, they're spoiled. People now, they're spoiled.
They're spoiled.
They add too much.
Yes.
Just too much. They don't even know what it is without. And that's a shame because it's an experience. That's how you learn to appreciate things when you don't have it.
I agree.
And then you have it. Now the people, I mean, the new generation, they're just born, with a silver spoon in their mouth. So
and you feel like you're entitled. Well, I didn't get this. I need this. The government needs to provide this. And did the Italian government, when you're in the middle of all this war, were they making sure you had stuff, or did you have?
And I don't remember. They don't have all this program. I don't think. I never heard it. But I do remember that Mussolini established the Girl Scouts. And the Balilla and then the Boy Scouts, because I remember marching in front,
Right.
in front of him when he stayed in the balcony one time. So he did establish that program. But outside of that, I really didn't.
But families fended for themselves. You rationed, you shared things, and
Well, that one is because during the war, like here now, the shelves are empty because there's not much available. Although here, it's nothing compared to.
it's nothing compared to that. When people think things are tough now, it's
Right.
nothing compared to war, right?
Yeah. But I mean, we did starve. But,
No, right.
But we didn't have, we didn't have the surplus that you have.
What
here.
did Italy look like as you were a younger child, like pre-14, before war? Very wealthy. I mean, good food, good supplies.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was great, before the war.
So war was just devastating to the whole world.
Well,
Absolutely.
I mean, it just was.
All right.
Because, it just was.
So have you? Okay, you're war bride. Now let me ask this real quick. Have you gone back to Italy since coming here? You've been back.
I've been back. I didn't go back till about 11 years. My mother came here, by the way, for a while, but she didn't like it.
She didn't like it.
Well, here's the thing about it. From Milano to Heron, I felt like I was buried alive.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
Really?
Well, I came to the second largest city in Italy,
Yeah.
beautiful, with this Duomo, the cathedral.
Oh, yeah, and you come here and it's like a hole.
For Sunday, we used to go to the planetarium, to the zoo, cultural stuff.
You went from New York, a cultural mega of Italy, to Heron, Illinois.
Illinois.
Circa 1947, 48. Oh, my gosh.
Well, you kind of felt like that when you moved
I did.
from Memphis.
Sandra, while my family's all from here, my dad's from here, I grew up in Memphis. I grew up with my mom in the ballet, going to the park and the zoo, and I went to all boys private school. We had everything. When I moved here, everything shut down at 8:30. You couldn't find a decent food. Some Italian food was good, but there was nothing fun to do. There was no culture. I would drive back to Memphis to get culture. So I felt like when I moved here in 89, 90, I thought I'd been stranded on an island.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I can't imagine being from Milan, and you came from a place where they had great food and great culture.
Yeah.
It's a different world, Southern Illinois is.
Exactly.
Now, St. Louis gives you a little bit of culture, Memphis, but now you're traveling 3-4 hours where
I couldn't even speak English. I didn't even know one word of English.
Oh, my.
So that even made it worse because,
Right.
I'm a very community person. I like to communicate, so I had to learn the language, and I learned it all by myself because they didn't have. Logan was not even established at that time.
Johnny Logan's not here.
Right.
I guess
wasn't even
there were other Italians in this community that you could talk to, I guess, but not much.
No, because the difference is every community over there has a different dialect.
Yes.
Oh.
So the people here, they came here, they all spoke dialect. So,
it was a challenge to talk to them as well.
We communicated some, you know what I mean, but it was not at the level like that I taught, the Italian that I taught.
So it was really a transfer. When,
So
when did you start feeling like you? Well, you probably still ready to go back to Milan. I'd like to go back to Milan, but when did the island get better?
I went back several times. I took groups. I took tourist
Tour groups.
Because when I taught at Logan, they called me if I wanted to take it. So I took after that 3 or 4 time I went back to take groups.
Well, tell me about being a war bride. So how does that happen?
First you get married.
You get married. You find
That's the basic thing. That's why
how did some soldiers sweep you off your feet?
The reason why, because he was very quiet and very handsome, and his name was Colombo, so I figured it was at the same background.
Right.
Not only that, his grandparents have never met him.
Wow.
And he got to meet his grandparents
while he was in Italy.
While he was in Italy.
See, my grandpa did too. He went and met family when he was in Valparaiso during the war. When the war was over, he went up in the hills and went to their homeland, and he had never been there.
Exactly.
I'll tell you a quick story real quick. My great grandma, Antonio Benetton, who is the first Benetton that settled here, they came over as miners. They didn't come to Heron first. Antonio Benetton, is Don's grandpa. My great grandpa's Charlie's dad. He's in the Catholic cemetery. He's buried there. Okay. Yeah. They came to New Mexico before it was a state. They were brought over as miners in New Mexico. When they got there, the mine petered out, and they got hired to move to Heron to coal mine. And so that's how they quickly moved. So my family became Americans. Right when they became Americans in the territory of New Mexico. I actually have the citizenship papers on my wall at home, the original. So from Bernalillo County, New Mexico. So they became legal here. When Antonio got here, he brought grandma, and she never not spoke Italian. He died here very quickly in the mines as a result of some mine stuff. And grandpa was telling me during the interview that she had to have surgery. And she couldn't understand any of the doctors here. And she literally put herself on a steamer, went back to Italy, had the surgery, and then came back. Just so she could go someplace that she could understand and be connected. Because she never really learned that.
I helped some people that they were here. The one one of the pizza places, their son, they were here with their children. When their son got sick, was in a hospital, they couldn't speak English, so they asked me to help with the doctor.
The pizza place that we used to like, I know it's probably them. Yeah, fantastic. It's amazing what people did, and the power of these Italian women, these naninos, these grandma, these women are tough enough to not know. I mean, grandpa says, I still don't know how she got there and got back.
And another thing, my grandfather on my dad's side, came to America, and we never heard from him again. So we still to this day don't know whether he died or he remarried and never let us know. All I remember it was my grandmother. She had a little shop, and we always knew her. We never met her grandfather because he already come to the United States.
That's incredible.
And he just
And
disappeared. You just never.
Yeah.
All right, so here's are you doing well? Are you doing?
I'm doing
You're
fine.
good.
Keep
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna end part 1 and we'll go right into part 2. And I'm gonna let the bride story start off part 2. I know I've been teasing it. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna find out more about because some dude swept this woman off her feet, and then next thing you know, she gets drugged.
Well, here's the thing about it. I couldn't speak English. You couldn't speak Italian.
Oh yeah.
So the way I met him is because my friend was interpreted for an English embassy in Milano. And so she said one night, she said, let's just go to the Red Cross because my husband was working for the Red Cross. I mean, in the military, they give you all job, right? He played baseball at one point, and now they assign him to, he was taking supply from Milano to Genova to the Red Cross because they took over this restaurant in the middle of the zoo. It's a beautiful restaurant. And so they made it the Red Cross for their soldiers. And so that's what he did. He went to Geneva, pick up the supply, and then brought him over. And then they had, with the soldier, went, to have coffee and donut, and sometimes they have dances. So this one time that this dance, and my friend said, let's go. I said, no, because I'm not too sure about these Americans. But she said, well, no, that'll be fine. Let's just go. I can speak the language. So anyway, that's where I met Harry. And right away, he was a Colombo, and so she explained to him that he had relatives here and all of that. So we had something in common, And so I kind of trusted him then.
And that was the starting point.
That was the starting point. Then he was deployed almost right away. He went to Tarcento, which is close to where you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
And so she would translate the letter for me in Italian and to him in English.
So he went up to Torino and up there.
I didn't go there. I didn't go there until we got married.
So he had to go back on into. So he was on leave, I guess, where you were,
leave, yeah,
and they got redeployed, and he came back and got you.
No. I mean, he was deployed, but he went to Tarcento and he was stationed there for a while. Yeah. So then, when he asked me to marry him, I said, well, I really wanted him to stay there because I really never thought of leaving Italy.
You should.
I never thought.
Yeah.
And so anyway, no. I mean, when I was young, I was happy there.
Yeah, of course you were. Of course you were. And the war's over.
Yeah. And so anyway, when he asked me, then we did, and we got married, the arrangement, and we got married there at the church that I was baptized. Then I went up to Tarcento with him, but not after that. It was time to come back home because he was ready to come back home. But when I talked about this one girl, I met this girl because you talk about what are these war brides. Well, there were a lot of girls that marry American soldiers. Mm-hmm. So they have so many that the soldier came on their own boat. And all of us girls, we were all on one boat. So we left from Genova, then we went to Naples.
Genova, Italy.
It's right there close to Portofino and all
Portofino,
that,
right.
That's where all the boats and everything.
Is that where the famous salami comes from, Genova salami? There you go. So
that's where Christopher Colombo
came from? Okay, excellent.
So anyway, my cousin lived there too.
So you followed the same route that Christopher Columbus probably came here on?
Probably. I don't know. I think not because we were only on the trip. I think maybe 8 or 9 days. He was on it for I don't know how many.
You were a lot quicker. You steamer.
That's true.
We had a shortcut.
Yeah.
But anyway, I met this friend. She was from Rome. She married a lieutenant, and we kind of got together and roomed together and everything. And I was friend with her until she died. And she lived in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And we never saw each other again. Oh, wow. But we kept in touch with each other.
Right.
So I thought
That's
that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That and she never learned to drive because she was in a city. So evidently she didn't have use, to drive around the city with a car. They had a car when they went along. Right. Her husband graduated from Cornell. He knew 5 languages. And her son wrote a book about his dad, and he put me in it as his mother friend. So I thought that was
all right. We're gonna stop part 1 and we're gonna come back in part 2. Sandra's great, and I'm gonna get into this war bride stuff. We're gonna figure this out because this is cool, and we're gonna get into part 2 right away. We're not gonna break the episode, but we're gonna keep going. But this has been great. You want to keep listening. You want to get back in part 2, guys, and come hear the rest of this because we're gonna pull some stuff out of this you're just gonna love. So don't miss it. And this has been great so far.
You don't have to pull it. I'll tell you.
No. So we'll be back in part 2 in just a bit.